Welcome to another episode of Russian Hate Speech, where we break down the Kremlin's latest lies against the West. At the core of the Kremlin's messaging in early September 2025 was a simple and repeated scenario: portray the West as morally corrupt and weak, depict European leaders as either accomplices of false historical narratives or helpless puppets, and justify Russia's direct threats or attacks as legitimate defensive measures. On September 9, 2025, during Evening with Vladimir Solovyov, the host spread the narrative that the West must stop considering itself the victor over Nazism in World War II, attacking the moral authority of European countries and their leaders.
We see the resurgence of Nazism again, but this time without hiding. They all march in step. There is no one left. Every time the French shout that they defeated Nazism, I just have a question. How many French fought for Hitler and how many against? No one will like the comparison of these numbers. So stop pretending to be winners. Stop it. You are pathetic bastards. This is directed at the political establishment of European countries.
Solovyov deliberately questions the moral legitimacy of European nations by appealing to the history of World War II, aiming to humiliate them, downplay the significance of Nazi crimes, and undermine any moral foundation for supporting Ukraine. The goal is to delegitimize European leadership and radicalize the audience against European solidarity. On September 10, 2025, Solovyov shifted from historical insults to personal attacks against EU leaders to undermine the authority of a key European politician.
You, a woman who entered history with the stupidity about washing machines from which chips are taken and that the Russian economy is turned to shreds. You, but I understand that you're a gynecologist, used to looking into the essence of things. But try, for a second, to remember your profession. Look into the essence. Stop talking nonsense. Go back to your profession. Yes, you are a bad gynecologist, but as a politician even worse. Ursula von der Schickel-Gruber, grow yourself a mustache. Well-finished creature trying to usurp power in the European Union. I look at the leaders of national states, at least partially elected by people somewhere, who surrender their powers and submit to the dictate of this German mad Nazi rebel, building the next Reich. Now even a woman.
With this statement, Solovyov sought to radicalize the audience and discredit European leader Ursula von der Leyen, resorting to personal insults, sexism, and Nazi allusions. The aim is to portray EU leadership as incompetent and morally corrupt. On September 8, 2025, rhetoric escalated to direct threats against European arms production and personnel, a call that goes beyond mere propaganda.
And with all these measures, we will now produce long-range weapons for Ukraine. So, in my view, we must declare that any factory producing weapons for Ukraine on European territory is a legitimate target. That means we will destroy German Nazi creatures. Whatever you plan to send to Ukraine, where you produce it. If you haven't understood this yet, read your history. The Russian soldier will come to Berlin again, but this time forever. We will not repeat the mistakes of Gorbachev and others.
The Russian propagandist openly threatened strikes on European factories and the destruction of populations. These words signal Russia's intent to expand the battlefield into Europe and legitimize attacks on industrial infrastructure. Also on September 9, 2025, military commentator Mikhail Khodorkovych intensified nuclear and precision strike threats against NATO members who enable strikes on Russia or supply weapons to Ukraine. As for possible strikes on military objects in NATO member states, well, I would like to say again to the political and military leaders of these countries, don't force us. You are forcing us anyway. And then, if you think that we have nothing prepared for this case, everything is prepared. Up to demonstrative nuclear strikes, demonstrative actions, up to precision weapons that will destroy all your enterprises down to the floor level. So, well, I want to say again, don't force us. The commentator explicitly references demonstrative nuclear strikes and industrial destruction as a deterrent. In this way, Russians attempt to normalize the threat of nuclear strikes as a negotiation tool. On September 10, 2025, the same program pushed the narrative that the Western reaction to the alleged drones in Poland is a provocation by Ukraine or the West, a classic false flag story. Vladimir Aliynik, co-founder of the pro-Russian organization Committee for the Rescue of Ukraine, stated,
I believe this is a provocation by Ukraine. Why? I read Tusk. 19 UAVs entered Poland. Only 4 were shot down, 15 somewhere else. Why would Russia send them without warheads? From the materials available, this is the purpose. Why? To organize a large-scale provocation. And why? To raise the level of escalation, to get more money for Ukraine, etc. These small details indicate a possible collusion between the special services of Poland and Ukraine. Strike, but be careful, God forbid with warheads.
Here, Russia attempts to sow doubt about facts and portrays Ukraine and Poland as provocateurs, undermining European unity and sowing distrust. The false flag narrative distracts from real aggression and confuses the information environment. On September 9, the program also targeted US politics, humiliating and demonizing leaders to show the weakness of American leadership. Political analyst Dmitry Kulikov commented on Donald Trump.
Trump, of course, is in a difficult situation, possibly the most serious ever, because he, I personally am convinced, tried to negotiate in Alaska. He needed it. He was the initiator. The president of Russia even indicated possible compromises for him. I understand. We don't know the details, but from context, I understand. He clarified our position and indicated, perhaps, some compromises. Well, bravo, Donald, go ahead. And Donald has demonstrated all this time from Alaska that he can do nothing. If that one is homosexual in the literal sense, then this one is politically impotent. I am serious.
Propagandists clearly demonstrate that Russia is trying by all means to portray US leadership as ineffective and morally corrupt. The Kremlin's goal is to undermine trust in the United States among the Russian audience. All these fragments from the Russian federal channel show a long-term Kremlin strategy. It seeks to erase moral distinctions, devalue opponents, legitimize strikes on European infrastructure and pre-announced targets, normalize nuclear threats, and sow doubt about Western unity through provocative narratives. Their goal is not discussion but escalation. Thank you for joining us today. Stay tuned for the next episode of Russian Hate Speech as we continue exposing the Kremlin's war on reality.